In 2005, I was a managing director at Baird Capital Partners Europe, a leading mid-market private equity firm. And we had identified a business in the West Midlands, a manufacturing company, that we were transacting a management buyout of that business. It had a great customer base, very loyal customer base, and a terrific product that the customers all loved. And you'd have thought that was the key ingredients for a successful acquisition. But there was one bit in the middle that troubled us, in that although customers loved the product and loved us, they thought our service was less than satisfactory. We agreed that the optimum solution was to go for an interim operations director to help us focus the business around its customer service experience. And through that, I became connected to BIE and then to Eric.
Having done quite a lot of work, mainly in automotive, on looking at customer service and turning a business into a customer-facing organisation as opposed to one that looks inside and looks at itself. My initial view in that first meeting was it was absolutely perfect for my skills, but also for an interim manager's skills.
So you come on board, and I'm very interested to understand the relationship between the company and the interim. How does that work? At what point do you decide what role Eric will fulfill and the powers that he will have within that role? And Eric, from your point of view, how does that work with what you want to achieve within a particular given company?
What we tend not to do is be very granular in setting individual objectives for an interim manager. We sort of broadly outline what we see the role as requiring, and essentially you let them get on with it. There's no point in hiring great people and then doing their job for them, and that's what we saw in Eric.
And in fact, in the early days, when I got to know Nigel Hutchinson, the managing director of Paddock, the original tension was I'd been brought on board by the venture capital bank and I was a spy in the camp. Well, clearly, if that was going to be the feeling, it could never be successful. And it took me a lot of effort over the first 3 months to show Nigel that I was working for him. I may have been found by Baird, but I was working for him.
You need to give management the space to manage and build relationships, and there's a very important distinction there, almost a white line that the private equity director doesn't cross, because I think it's important when management teams are backed that they're let to get on with it and deliver results.
Within a month of being there, the communication had in fact been done, where we described the benefit to the workforce of developing a much healthier business, because that would give strength to the business, and strength means people can work there. So it's a very important point in any change of ownership. You have to bring the workforce along with you, and getting that communication at a very early stage is critically important.
So Eric was not a short-term stopgap. He had longevity in the role, and that's something I think that evolves over time. You don't know that necessarily on day one, and that's the beauty of an interim. The beauty of the interim is that you can either work out and have a clear idea of what you need, and there's two routes there. Either the interim will move into that role, or you then say, thank you very much, you've helped me calibrate what I'm looking for, and now we need to make a permanent appointment. So for me, it gave great flexibility around what we were looking to achieve, with a clear eye on where we needed to be in 5 years' time.
When Baird acquired the business and when I joined the business, the market was relatively young, and therefore customers were very tolerant. But over the period that I was with Paddock, the market matured very rapidly, as did customer expectation. And in the early days, we delivered 4 out of 10 products on time. And had it carried on like that, Paddock would not have survived. Today, we're delivering 9.5 out of 10 products on time, and that's enabled us to grow market share. It spins off lots and lots of benefits, as simple as debt collection. When you want to get your money in through the door, if the customers can't find a reason for not paying because the customer service is so excellent, your cash flow improves.
My experience is from my first call to BIE to hiring Eric was about 4 weeks. I contrast that with a permanent search exercise, which you'd be lucky to have achieved that outcome in 6 months. So where speed is important, an interim is the best answer.
What you need as an interim is the ability to go in, see that strategic vision, link that into the things that need to be done. And in fact, quite often an interim manager will employ a consultant to do the specialist work once the weakness has been identified or the area for improvement has been identified.